Welcome, everybody, and welcome to the gruelingtruth.com. I'm your host, Mike Goodpastor. Today, we're going to be talking all about the one and only Formula One Monaco Grand Prix. We're once again joined by Marcus, who's our Formula One go-to guy. How you doing today, Marcus?
I'm very good. Thanks, Mike. Thanks again for having me on the show. Real pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so let's talk about the Monaco Grand Prix. What can you tell us about this weekend's race and racetrack?
Okay, so the Monaco Grand Prix is a prestigious Grand Prix. It is the crown jewel in the Formula One race calendar. It's been around since pretty much 1929, and it's never missed a race on the Formula One calendar, save for 2020 when we had COVID come around. But we can forget about that one, right? It's a pretty tight and twisty street race circuit. So you got some slow corners. I mean, slow corners, slow for Formula One car. It's still fast, but some slow corners, very tactical, very hard on the drivers because it's very mentally draining. They really need to keep their focus. And it's a little bit hard to overtake around Monaco because it's so narrow and the cars are so huge nowadays. To me, the race, Monaco, it's all about the qualifying. That is the show. That is the one you don't want to miss.
All right, so for someone who might not know much about qualifying, can you tell us a little bit about how that works?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So qualifying takes place on a Saturday afternoon, right? And it takes place for about an hour or so. Maybe if there's an incident like a safety car or a crash or something, it might take a little bit longer, but generally about an hour. Qualifying takes place with 3 heats, if you will. You have Q1, Q2, and Q3. The Q stands for qualifying. All 20 cars, they go out for Q1, and that lasts about 18 minutes, and they all try set the fastest time, right? With the bottom 5 being eliminated. So anyone from being position 16 to position 20, they all get eliminated. And then we move over to Q2, and then you get pretty much the same thing. You have about 15 minutes or perhaps a little bit less, and the bottom 5 will get eliminated in Q2. Which leaves you with the top 10, and that's the shootout for pole, and that's the most exciting, and that's what it's all about here in Monaco.
So since you mentioned it's all about the qualifying, especially with the narrow track in Monaco, who's your pick for the pole?
Oh, no doubt it's going to be Charles Leclerc. I mean, he is the home hero. This is his home Grand Prix. There is a lot of pressure on him to actually qualify and win this race. He actually qualified here on pole last year, but he crashed out then in the final few minutes of qualifying and damaged his drive shaft. Ultimately, the next day, he didn't even make it to the grid, right? So apart from that, Charles has had a lot of bad luck around here. He's never actually won his home Grand Prix. So he's really looking to break his curse. He's really looking to get on top of the game. He does have the best car. Charles Leclerc to qualify on pole and possibly to win the race. That's my pick.
All right, so back in the day, I remember Senna was the true king of Monaco. In your opinion, will there be anyone else as good as him around here?
Senna is hard to beat. He won here 6 times in a row. It could have been 7 times had he not crashed out. I believe it was 1989 where he crashed out in Monaco. He could have even won here in '94 if he didn't have if he didn't have the unfortunate accident which fatally took his life away. But no, Senna Sempre, he can't be compared to anyone else. I mean, nowadays, I guess the closest driver to be compared to him would be Max. He's the most aggressive in the terms of his driving style. I would compare him a little bit with him, but no, you can't beat Senna. No way.
All right. So who else should we keep an eye on this weekend?
Okay, so there's a few other notable drivers, especially from last weekend in Barcelona, that have really caught my attention. The 2 Mercedes, they seem to have gotten on top of their game now. Their porpoising issues and all their mechanical stuff, they seem to have gone on top of that, and they seem that they're really not struggling that much anymore. We saw Lewis Hamilton; he drove quite a drive. He was from P19 due to a puncture. He went up to finish P5. Great drive from him. That's surely going to give him a confidence boost. He's really quick around here. He actually holds the lap record for the fastest time around Monaco. Back in 2019, it was like a 1:10.1 or something. Really, really quick lap. So I really do not want to take him out of the equation. But George Russell, he seems to be a bit more comfortable in the car, a bit more than Lewis, especially in the slow corners. That car seems still to be a little bit unpredictable. You can't take Max out of the equation. He wants to continue extending his championship lead now that the championship has swung into his favor. Obviously, Charles wants to swing it back into his. And you got your two other rivals. You got Sergio Perez, who's looking to prove a point after last weekend's team orders. He didn't like that one bit. And you also got someone like Lando Norris, who goes really well around here, who's on top of his car. He's really, really good driving that McLaren around. And also, then you got his old teammate, Carlos Sainz, who really needs to get used to the car really quickly. He's also got a point to prove. So it's going to be a spicy one, this one, Mike.
All right. So in your opinion, what are the best sports books to use for this race?
Okay, so I had a look at DraftKings. They had some pretty good picks, they had some pretty good props, and also BetMGM. There were also a couple of there's also a couple of picks that I would like to choose. I mean, I saw some nice odds on Lewis Hamilton to finish on the podium. That is a pretty reasonable bet. You got plus 210 for Lewis. And then for BetMGM, if I would go for a safe bet, it's definitely going to be for Charles Leclerc to win the Grand Prix, right? Or to qualify first. And that's minus 110. Sure, the odds aren't that great, but it's a safe bet because I really do think that he is my top guy. He is going to qualify on pole. He's going to win this race. At least that's what I like to think. We'll see how well my predictions will age. Also, I saw a really cool, interesting prop bet on BetMGM. It's for Mick Schumacher to score his first points in Formula One, and that's at plus 160. Interesting take. I think I would place a bet on him. Also, BetMGM, they have this great offer where you can get up to 1,000 risk-free bet. So whether your bets win or lose, they're risk-free, right? So might as well take advantage of that offer and enjoy your bets on Formula One.
Yeah, and I'm sure we can find a link in the description down below in the YouTube video.
Yeah, absolutely. All the links to both DraftKings and BetMGM will be listed down in the description below. Also, for the offers that I just mentioned, also like to put a bit of a push to my article. I wrote a really good article for the Monaco Grand Prix, which I'll also link down below. And I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, and this is probably the greatest day in auto racing every year, right? You got Monaco, you got the Indianapolis 500, you got the Coca-Cola 600. And we will have you covered on all three of those races. It was great talking to you again, Marcus. I love to talk Formula One with you.
Thanks for having me on the show, Mike. And yeah, you got that right. You can't forget about the Indy 500. Looking forward to that one.
All right. Make sure you like, subscribe on YouTube to check out all of our videos. Go to Facebook, check out the Grueling Truth Facebook page. But for now, for Marcus, I'm Mike Goodpasture. You've been watching and listening to the Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.